Here we have the Jeep Wagoneer. Now, Jeep designed this colossal 3-row monstrosity to compete with the likes of like the Suburban, the Yukon, the Tahoe, etc. and so forth. Basically, this thing is like a hybrid minivan pickup truck where you can fit your whole family and more in it. Now, I have this as a rental right now because my Rivian is being worked on, so I thought this would be a good opportunity to review the thing. Come to find that this is one of the best trucks I have ever driven, but you should not buy it. And here's why. Let's start with under the hood. This is using Stellantis's new inline twin-turbo 6-cylinder engine. I think it's 3 liters if I'm not mistaken. And it is an absolute speed demon. I drive a Rivian quad motor as my daily driver, and this thing feels almost as fast. It's not, but it feels almost as fast. There is at no point that you slam your foot down on the accelerator that it doesn't just go and feel natural while doing it. And even more impressive than its acceleration is its miles per gallon. See, we owned a 4Runner that at best got between like 17 to 19 miles per gallon on a long road trip. Whereas this thing we are squeaking out close to 23 miles to the gallon, if you don't drive like an asshole. And that is nothing short of impressive for a car that's the size of a house. And that seems to be the given theme of this vehicle. Despite its absolutely enormous size, it just drives like a little sports car. See, the suspension is this beautiful hybrid between sport and comfort. It's like not too firm, but not too soft. It's just in that Goldilocks zone. There is no sway in it when you take a sharp turn. For example, the Rivian feels like you're like skating on ice whenever you're trying to take a sharp turn, but no, this feels planted and in control. It is super impressive. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of the vehicle and see what else it offers. Inside the Jeep Wagoneer, you'll find a very well appointed interior. It's comfortable and maybe one of the quietest cars I have ever driven. It is one of the few cars on the road that has all four window double pane sound acoustic glass. Basically, the bottom line is they sandwich 2 pieces of glass together to make the car interior super quiet. The Rivian has it on the front 2 windows and the windshield. The F-150 has it on the windshield, front 2 windows, including the King Ranch models. I believe the Platinum series F-150s may have it on all 4. So it's a little bit of a welcoming thing that Stellantis is offering this on their non-top tier model. When you are on the highway driving at 80 to 90 miles per hour, which is legal in Virginia, you'll find that you can have a whisper quiet conversation. I mean, you can literally hear a pin drop. I would argue that the interior of this Wagoneer is damn near quieter, if not as quiet, as the brand new Range Rover. And for a car that costs almost half the price of a Range Rover, that's nothing short of impressive. And it's not just a nice place to be because it's quiet. All of the materials are kind of like soft and decent feeling. Sure, there is a little bit of plastic in here, as there really is in most cars these days. Even the Range Rover for damn near $200,000 has some plastic in it. But everything is just sort of designed well. Things are in like a good intuitive place. The controls feel sort of natural except for the drive knob, which I will get into in a little bit here more soon. But everything just sort of feels good and well placed. And it's like not cheap feeling like a Kia or a Hyundai. No, it appears that Jeep took some pride in trying to design the interior of this machine. And it's not just about materials. It has a lot of features. You've got adaptive cruise control. You've got a very nice Alpine stereo system with surround sound, automatic high beams, push button start, lane keeping assist. But anyway, point is though, is that they really don't leave you like wanting too much more. And I would argue that the interior, center console area is a lot smarter designed than that of like, let's say the 4Runner, even maybe the Rivian. And you simply never need to be worried about space in here because with the 3rd row down, I mean, hell, I could put a mattress back here. This has got to be one of the most spacious vehicles I have ever been in. It's crazy. The 3rd row in the 4Runner and the Rivian are like borderline unusable. It's like the equivalent of the rear seats in a Porsche 911. But in this, I feel pretty comfortable on a long car trip. And you've got luxury features generally reserved for the rich and the famous. I mean, I don't even have to manually take the seats up and down. All I gotta do is hit a button, they go down for me. That's pretty convenient when you've got 2 kids screaming at you and you're juggling 2 bags of groceries. And let's be honest, is there anything more exhilarating than a firm sounding car door? I mean, hear this. That's like closing a bank vault. All right, now while the car drives great and is quiet as hell, there are a few things I don't like about it. First, let's get to the nitpicky stuff, and that is the piano black trim that is kind of just interlaced in random spots. Now the thing is that's not a Jeepism. Unfortunately, a lot of manufacturers add piano black trim to their cars these days, thinking that it adds a touch of luxury, when in fact, all it does is make dust, fingerprints, and scratches appear more wildly. Manufacturers, if you are listening, quit putting piano black trim in your cars. It sucks. And most people are just putting a matte PPF over it. Anyway, next up is Uconnect. Now, Uconnect has been in Stellantis vehicles for a while now, and to this day, it still just feels a little bit unpolished. While the screen itself is very responsive, and now in this one it's quite small, which I'll get into in a moment here, interacting with Uconnect just seems like you've got to press a lot of different buttons for the same functions, kind of hope it clicks. There's never really a guaranteed response. I don't know. When I'm fumbling around with like Ford's new system, and then you've got, obviously the likes from Rivian, Tesla, Honda, Uconnect just feels like it needs a little bit of just something done to refine it. And then let's talk about the screen. In this particular model, now you can upgrade the screen size, but in this particular model, you have a tiny little screen where you interact with the entire vehicle. There is a huge black bezel around the screen, and it is just a ton of wasted space. Ultimately, if you are going to get a Jeep Wagoneer, you should probably option it with the bigger screen, because it's not just small for like even against its competition, it's just usably very small and quite annoying. Next is the AC, which, while it works very well, it's quiet and it blasts pretty well in both the second and third row, and gets pretty cold and of course subsequently pretty hot. It's a little bit finicky. You just never really can quite dial in your temperature and comfort level, and I'm not really sure why that is. Fords are like that a little bit too, but it's more noticeable in this Jeep. And I did not have that issue in the Ram, so I don't know what kind of like formula Jeep is using for their air conditioning system, but they do need to update it. Next up on our list of complaints is the tailgate. I don't know why, but my wife and I could never get the tailgate to properly function on this car. I don't know if it's because it's having like a defect and it just needs to be serviced or what, but you hit the button, the car will kind of beep at you, but the tailgate won't open, and then you press it again, and then it opens, and sometimes it then shuts itself, and it just seems to have a mind of its own, and it does what it wants to do, but the tailgate never really responds properly. So if that is in fact a Jeep Wagoneer issue, Jeep needs to address that, but ultimately, again, I'm willing to chalk that up to that just this being this particular one and it having a problem. And then there is the ever infamous shift knob. Now, I had a Ram, and that shift knob, the drive mode shift knob, was just not like as insulting as it is in this Jeep Wagoneer. They kind of put it by your right leg a little bit, and it was kind of out of the way and unassuming, but in this Jeep Wagoneer, it is smack in the middle of the center console. And working with it is just kind of like finicky, and again, it's sort of like the tailgate, it just never really does what you want. You think you're putting it in reverse, but it's really going into park, and then you want to drive, and then it doesn't, you're in neutral. It's just like Stellantis, everybody's been asking you to get rid of that shift knob. Like, just fucking get rid of it. Whatever. And then finally, there's the price. No, I really love this Jeep Wagoneer, but I wouldn't be caught dead buying one. And the reason why is because these things start at almost $70,000. And especially when you option them out to where you like want them to be, like where this one pretty much is, you're probably talking closer to 75, 80. And that to me is an absolutely outrageous sum of money. Recently, Stellantis' CEO said that he's giving all of his brands a couple of years to start being profitable, or he's going to shut them down. In reality, what Stellantis needs to do is just get rid of Chrysler, because nobody gives a shit about them. And they need to concentrate on the stuff that's making them money, like Ram and Jeep. But you can start by offering machines that don't cost as much as a house. As a quick side note, while I'm thinking about it, I want to be clear on this. I wouldn't buy one of these things new, but if you could find one of these things for a stellar deal used, and you probably could, then I'd say it's worthy of pulling the trigger. No, the thing is this is an absolutely phenomenal car, but for like $30,000 or $40,000. And maybe call me old school. I mean, yes, I'm used to buying cars in like the pre-COVID era where you could get an absolute steal of a deal for 30,000 bucks. I get it. We're not there anymore. That's not the times. But in no universe is this car worth 80,000 bucks. By the way, for that matter, none of the new Range Rovers are worth what they're asking either. It's absolutely outrageous what you have to spend for those. But even all of the features, the luxury, the comfort, the practicality, the intelligent design, the fast-ass motor, I actually like this more than the Rivian in a lot of ways. But I just can't justify buying one. It's a little bit of a shame. And something tells me I'm not alone in that either, because numbers don't lie, and you just don't see a whole lot of these on the road. Anyway, I do like the Jeep Wagoneer. If you decide that you've got, a hole burning in your pocket and money to spend, hell yeah, buy one of them. Anyway, we hope this video was helpful. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be back with another video really soon.